if you could go into your fantasy draft with the exact same tools that all the fantasy experts use in order to win their leagues? Well, guess what? My name is Justin with J-Hen Fantasy, and I'm inviting you to Fantasy Football Training Camp, a live virtual 2-day event where you have the opportunity to learn from analysts, former NFL players, betting experts, and a whole lot more. This is your chance to get real analysis and expertise live through panels, participate in mock drafts, and a whole bunch of other goodies. Make sure to get your ticket in the description below and join us at Fantasy Football Training Camp this August 2nd and 3rd. We'll see you there. These fill up fast. Maybe I'll have to figure out a way to start doing it too, bro. I gotta figure out. I know you're already game for it, but I gotta figure that shit out.
What's that?
I gotta figure that out. All right.
Only 2 wide receivers. All right.
2 wide receivers. So we're going 2 wide receivers and a flex in this one. 2 wide receivers and a flex, and it's half point PPR. Did I put half point? I think I did half PPR. So heavier value on the running backs in this one. And so when you're going into these, like I know you do a lot of underdog drafts, which are half point PPR. Are you taking that into account, or are you still going with like in your head PPR drafts? Like, because I think even on underdog, they start 3 receivers. You still got to kind of give the edge to the running back in this situation because they're going to score a little bit more points. Are you taking that into account when you go on underdog or in your half point PPR leagues, or are you kind of drafting for talent the same way?
No, I do take into account a little bit. The only problem just with underdog, the wide receivers go so fast that you have to take them a little bit early, but I still like to have 1 or 2 running backs, and I'm okay with going like 1 wide receiver and then like 2 running backs because they do get pushed down the board a little bit. So you could have a start where, and I've had it before, where I have like CeeDee Lamb and then I have Josh Jacobs and Kyron Williams, and then I'm okay with like just not drafting another running back for a while because hey, those 2 guys don't get hurt. Those will be my studs every single week, and I can just focus on the wide receiver position. But
yeah, and I think when it's easy to forget, like when you're doing half point PPR league, how different point totals that is. That's like for receivers, that's a 50-point drop. If you're getting 100 catches, that could be a pretty big drop. And then also too, like to have stud running backs. This comment's actually spot on. In best ball, you have stacked running backs, or you can get like a really good quarterback. It makes a big difference in your lineup. So I think when you do half point PPR, it's important to realize like what draft settings you have, and even the scoring matters. So like for instance here, when you look at the scoring options, Bucky Irving's at 239. The highest receiver is at 203. Mm-hmm. And we only start 2, and then on our rosters, we're only starting 2 receivers. So it's important to realize who the scorers are and making sure that you get some running backs. You make sure that you account for that as you're doing your mock draft. As you're doing your mock.
Who's he going to go?
He's Bucky? About to go Bucky. No, he ain't going Bucky. Yeah,
Chase Brown, because Bucky's hated here.
Bucky's hated here. You can take Bucky right here, bro.
No, I already have 2 running backs. I want a wide receiver. I'm going to go with a guy who's going to, I think, kind of blow up this year. Not even kind of, but a lot.
Oh, my God. He did, lad.
He's going to be so good this year.
What is Lad's upside, bro? You think like he don't have 10 touchdown upside? No, he does not have top 5. There's no way. There's no way Lad is a top 5.
7 touchdowns last year. What do you mean he doesn't have 10 upside?
He don't have 10 upside. That was a year where they didn't have no run game. Yeah, the run game was non-existent last year. Once JK got hurt and then Gus was hurt.
He could easily get because the reason why he can get to 10 is because he actually has. This is kind of like the Joe Burrow, he's obviously not Jamar Chase, but the reason why Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase could always be the wide receiver 1 in fantasy football is because he's tied to one of the best passers in the NFL. Ladd McConkey proved last year that he's a very good wide receiver. To have 1,000 yards, 1,100 as a rookie wide receiver, that is very, very good for real life football. So he is very good at real life football, and then he's tied to. I don't care what anybody says. You agree that Justin Herbert's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL? one of the best.
Depends on what you call one of the best. I
Like
say he's a top
I'm
10
saying
to
like
12-ish.
6.
Top 10 to 12-ish. I think he's a top 10 to 12-ish quarterback.
Top 10, definitely top 10.
I think he's top 10. I think he's top 10.
Like I would say he's like mid inside the top 10. Like you could say definitely like, if you want to say
So
like
I got Josh Allen over him.
Josh, Lamar,
I put Lamar over him. Put Burrow over him. I put
Burrow,
Mahomes over him.
Mahomes. And then I think it's in conversation. Or there's maybe one more we're forgetting about.
I know there's one more we're forgetting about. I just can't think off the top of my head.
Is that 5 or did we say 4?
That was 4. Because I'm not putting Jalen Hurts over him. I'm not putting Dak. Sometimes is there. Not putting Kyler up there. I'm trying to think of like a quarterback I'm just missing on right now. He might be. He's locked in top 10. He's locked in top 10.
Yeah, I would say
he's probably now like 6 to 8 range.
Yeah,
I think that's fair to say. Let me look at the quarterbacks real quick.
Which he's a very good. Like the dude's.
Oh, Jaden Daniels. I would take Jaden Daniels over him.
I would say it's questionable. If Jaden Daniels can obviously build upon last year, then sure.
I would take Jaden Daniels over Herbert.
But that would be the one. So he's 6 or 5. Wait, no, was that 5? No,
he'd be number 6. He'd be number 6 for me. Yeah, damn. I don't know. Kyler's up there, but I still would rather have Herbert than Kyler.
Yeah, I would definitely rather have Herbert.
And then Dak is kind of questionable too. Dak's kind of questionable. I would say Dak is up there. Dak's.
You know what? I'll just. I'll go with T. Whatever. I don't take T a whole lot.
It is weird when you have to like start taking players who you just like don't normally take because you get draft fatigue or like having the same. I do that sometimes in underdog. Unfortunately, like I'll have so many of the same type of players. I'm like, I can't take them again, bro.
Yeah, I have a feeling that the guy that I want will get back to me anyways because I doubt he'll go on because let's see. Yeah, unless he just gets auto drafted, then he probably will get him. Oh, just in time.
I was thinking you about to get Jalen.
Me?
Yeah.
I was thinking about it, and that's probably.
If I had to guess. Ladd is a top 15 receiver. I don't know who the best after Chase and Jefferson. All just a crapshoot. I think you got to put CD in that conversation too.
CD? Why?
You got to put CD in that conversation.
Well, this is like I'm not even. So, two things. First thing is
CD in this conversation.
100%. Like I think that people like I don't understand. Like we were just taking CD Lamb as a wide receiver 1 last year.
I'm like, George Pickens is that much.
For me personally, like CD's over Jefferson for sure for me this year, and the reason being, yeah, for sure, just because like we know what CD is capable. Like he's already been the wide receiver 1. We just need Dak to stay healthy. Like if Dak can stay healthy for all season long, CD's healthy, and JJ McCarthy is not very good. I have no question in my mind that CD will outperform Justin Jefferson. Like I think that he will. So like, and I like personally, if it's a 3 wide receiver league, I won't even be mad if it's full point 3 wide receiver league if CD's the 2nd overall pick. Like CD's a stud. Like what are we doing here?
Yeah,
like it's absolutely. And then to say even Amon-Ra in a full point PPR league, Amon-Ra's been a top 3 wide receiver the past 2 years. Like the dude is guaranteed to go for 1,100 plus, 1,200 plus with 150 targets. Like that's just Amon-Ra.
I think the thing with St. Brown is like obviously the offensive coordinator change is going to be
that might be the one hiccup.
It could be the second hiccup, and then when you have a knee injury that might lead into the season, there's some question marks about it. There's supposedly he's ready. He's ready.
I don't pay attention to any of that until training camp. If he's not ready for training camp, then sure. Like that could be it.
That could be the difference in this team. And I'm like, I think his yardage total is sitting at like 1075, something super low for a guy like St. Brown. You're like, kind of makes you think like, why is his total so low? His total, I want to say it's at like 1075, maybe 1125, but I want to say it's like super low for a guy of his caliber.
But
So
his prop is what you're saying?
yeah, season long prop. So it's sometimes I don't always read into Vegas, but I do at times think like, okay, like why are they putting it this low? Like, what's the reason for that?
But I don't even think it's like I think there's so many good wide receivers. Like even like Brian Thomas Jr. We talked about him.
Yeah,
Nico Collins, we know how good he is if he can stay healthy. Like Puka Nacua, like I talked about this last time, 17, 18 fantasy points per game his first 2 years in the league. What else do you want? You want him to put 20 plus?
This is how I view receivers. I'm not gonna like talent wise, obviously, like they're all up there. I think in my head is Chase, CD. Those are like elite talent guys, right?
Yeah.
Even like a Devontae Adams. So I start to think of, okay, who's the talent? Whereas I think like St. Brown's kind of more of I don't want to just straight up call him a system guy, but he's kind of a system guy, right? AJ Brown is more of a dog, go get it guy. Brian Thomas more of a dog, go get it guy. So I think what's the ceiling? This is how I kind of judge like who's elite. Chase can go for 2,000 yards, 10, 15 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb can go for 2,000 yards, 1,800, 2,000 yards, 10, 15 touchdowns. Jettis can go for 2,000 yards, 10, 15 touchdowns. Like those are the ceiling plays, right? Brian Thomas kind of has that ceiling for me. St. Brown don't have nowhere near that ceiling. Puka Nacua don't have that ceiling to me. Even Malik Neighbors and AJ Brown, they don't really have that ceiling to me of like 1,800. Malik don't have 1,800 and 2,000 yard ceiling with 10, 15 touchdown with Russell Wilson. Ain't no way. Maybe in the future, not now.
Sure, but like, okay, that's fair. But like to say that Brian Thomas does with Trevor Lawrence, who hasn't done shit.
Brian Thomas is like Randy Moss. He got 15, 20 touchdowns. I don't think that would shock anybody.
I don't, but like Malik Neighbors had a better season than him last year with worse quarterback play.
Volume, but Russ is a different quarterback though. Russ isn't going to check down and like throw the shorter volume targets. That's
like what is Trevor Lawrence done? I understand that you can sit here and say, hey, Trevor Lawrence is going to be better than, but like, what has he truly done?
But but you got to just think like the volume is going to be there for him. Like if he's a 4,000 yard passer, if he's a 4,000 yard passer, Trevor does take the next step, which that's what we're really waiting for. Is like, can Trevor just be better than fucking mid, which he's been? If Trevor takes the next step, Brian Thomas is the pure beneficiary of that. If Trevor Lawrence throws 30 touchdowns, it's like Brian Thomas probably has the wide receiver one season. If Trevor Lawrence takes any step up, Brian Thomas is probably the number one wide receiver in all fantasy football.
But you could say, I mean, if you want to get into the if games, I mean, listen, I think the best case scenario, and I don't think it's going to happen, but if it does, Jameis Winston made fucking Jerry Jeudy a top 12 wide receiver last year because of the short play that he had. If Jameis Winston is the quarterback in New York, I would throw the house on Malik Neighbors finishing as the wide receiver one in fantasy football. I don't think that's going to happen. But and there's also a chance. Hey, I'm saying there's a chance. I'm not going to sit here and say it's going to happen. What if
I'm locking this take in for you? I'm locking this take in for you. You said it's going to happen now.
What if Jackson Dart's actually pretty good? Wait, why Quinshawn?
Stop. Why Quinshawn? Why not?
Why did you say? Oh, you're locking what?
I'm locking your take in right now. You just said Jackson Dart's going to be good.
Oh, I didn't say that.
You just said that. You said Jackson Dart's going to be. You said he's going to be elite.
He could be. Who knows? Could be. What if he is? I don't think he's going to be, but
no. But yeah, I took Judkins there. I think Judkins just having another back. That was why I took him there. I wasn't talking about
No. I thought you were locking in the take with him or something.
No. I think you're right about Malik. He's an elite talent, and obviously will have a great season. I just think when we're talking pure ceiling, when I'm looking at the guys that I want to draft at the top of the draft, I don't see an 1,800 yard, 10, 15 touchdown ceiling out of him with Russ at quarterback. Probably not even with Jameis at quarterback, and definitely not with Jackson Dart at quarterback if this team tanks. I just don't see it. Oh, fuck, I'm about to.
Good auto drafted again.
Now we go Laporta here.
No, you should have went with Johnny.
Hell no. Good question, though. Pimp Daddy Stan, good question. That's a good talking point there. Good talking point. People get fixated on last year's stats. That is true. A lot of Rashee Rice. This draft, I'm taking players I've never drafted before after my first pick. I think to be honest, you don't want to do that in every draft, but I think it's a good strategy to say, okay, like maybe I'm off on my values, or like, what does my team look like if I do this? And I don't like my team again, bro. I don't like my team.
I like my team.
I don't like your team either.
No, I love my team.
I don't like your team.
I
feel like in 10-team leagues, I try to get a little bit better depth than I have right now, but it's also half-point PPR, so I didn't grab the receivers I normally grab. I like Team 3, but that looks like a PPR team to me. But I love Team 3.
Yeah.
I love Team 3.
So it's not 3 wide receivers, so like
yeah.
I don't like that many wide receivers.
I like Sonny G's team down at the end too. H-Hand, Mixon, and D-Mont. Only thing is that you got to have that number 2 spot filled up. Like Sutton as your 2.
Yeah, I don't like that.
The good thing about 10-team leagues, and if I was in a 10-team league, the one thing I would say about like the way I drafted versus like the way Team 3 drafted, the difference is if you're in a league that trades, I'd much rather have like a Team 3. Because you can finesse a lot of times like running backs that are disappointing throughout stretches for those like high value names at receiver. So I would say if you're in a league that trades, my strategy is probably not very good. I'm drafting to like play this league out, but I would say draft name value at receiver because you can easily flip like DK Metcalf for running back in the middle of the season if you're in a league that trades.
Well, I'll say like the second team too is you can always find running backs throughout the season to kind of like plug holes and stuff. But just if I'm in a 2 running back league, I'd rather take. I understand you're taking a lot of wide receivers, but like after like Chris Godwin, I probably would have just started attacking like running backs and trying to just chase like high upside guys that could be, maybe an RB1 in fantasy, and they can just be my flex then after Saquon and Breeze, because like. Also, running backs, like very good running backs, are just so much. They're impossible to acquire in fantasy. Like I feel like you could get a solid wide receiver, like a high end wide receiver 2, rather than like a high end RB2 that's doing pretty well. Like they're just harder to get.
And you talk about like at the top of the draft, we're saying, oh, all the receivers are the same after like Chase and Jefferson. All the receivers are the same after like DK. All the receivers are the same.
Yeah, they're the same after that. That's what. Earlier when he said it's a crapshoot. I think there's like 13, 14 really, really good, maybe a little bit more, but like guys that I could see. My God, if I get one of these guys, my wide receiver 1, I like it. Oh man, come on, P. That's not even that. I thought that was Baker.
We have some good combos right now, bro. I like the conversation right now. I'm not gonna hold you,
but. Like I like the wide receiver, those high end wide receiver ones, because I think they're studs, and they may not have. It's not. I do think like Malik has a high end ceiling. He might not reach that high end ceiling this year. We might still be a year or 2 early for him to truly. But I do think he has a high end ceiling. But like I agree with you in like the DK range, like the DK, the DJ Moore. Like what the fuck's the difference between DK Metcalf and like truly Calvin Ridley? Like it's really not that much of a difference.
It's not that much of it. I would say like not that much of a difference.
Not that much between like DK and like just a couple rounds ago, in my opinion, like AJ Brown. Like I think there's a big difference between that. So like I'd rather just
like it wouldn't shock me if Michael Pittman had a DK Metcalf year.
No, 100. Even like I was gonna say DK Metcalf and like I don't. Like Jaden Reed, like if Jaden Reed rebounces this or bounces back this year on the good offense, like could probably put close to DK. And then that's why, like for me personally, I'd rather just like hammer the running back position there and just start getting, Travion Henderson. Maybe he's a fucking stud. He could be the best. I don't think he's going to be, but he could be the best running back in this class. We don't know. Like who knows?
Best running back in the class, huh?
I don't think he will be, but I don't think people thought Brian Thomas was going to be the best wide receiver in last year's class.
That is big facts.
He could be the best wide receiver in last year's class. Better than Marv. Everybody thought Marv
beautiful thing about fantasy football and football in general, you got to play the games. As much as we want to say our takes, as much as teams draft players, you have to play the game. And that's another thing too. When you do your
Oh
drafts,
no shit. Oh well.
you don't want them.
No,
We over
I
here. We
just
over
want
here.
to take Mark instead of him. They're
There
right
you
next
go.
to each other.
Oh, you can't get Mark. Get
It's
somebody
all
else.
right. It's all right.
The
Pretend
thing
it's
about
Mark.
the thing about in the mock drafts too, or in your real drafts, I should say, is you got to account for injury, right? So like team three, we talked about love the setup, but like if Saquon Barkley gets an ankle week one,
Yeah.
you're done. Like you're taking a 3-4 game L, and so I would just be very careful with that, especially when you have 6 receivers. You can only start 3 max. Like just be careful with that. You want to have enough to get you through buys or potential injury, but you don't want to have overkill where everybody then they look at you as the trade option. They're like, oh, you have to trade one, or I'm not going to help you. Because I get that a lot too. I get that a lot. I'm not going to help you out. I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to trade, man.
Yeah.
Just trying to trade. Oh, he took my quarterback, bro. He took my quarterback, bro. I thought he was going to make it back to me. Jordan Love is the QB 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Damn. That's why I'm going to get my guy. I haven't drafted him all offseason, except for like when we very first started doing it. I'm about to get him.
That is one thing I like to do, and that's why I went with Jalen, just because, like in 10 teams, I feel like you want as much of a. That's why I wish I would have went with a tight end a little bit earlier. Like you want as much of a like positional advantage that you can get, and I think Jalen offers that at the quarterback position. Like I like Jordan Love a lot.
Yeah.
And he could be top 5, like in a really, really good season where he puts up a lot of touchdowns. It could happen, but like I think Jalen Hurts will more than likely plays a full year, will definitely be top 5. So like in 10 teamers, I approached that part a little bit differently, but that's just one.
10 teamers are whack. It's just everybody stacked. Like you talked about. Like that's where, but I think you make a lot of really valid points. It's like this is where you want to try to find outliers. This is where you want to try to find those difference makers. And just looking at even my draft, there was an opportunity when I could have taken who was it? It was Brock. I was looking at Brock Bowers. I was like, okay, Brock might fall to me, and then he didn't. It kind of flushed me for a second. So I think there's opportunities here when you can find like that elite talent in a 10-team draft because you're going to have, like we talked about, you can pick up receivers that are all pretty similar. After the top 15 running backs, all of them are the same. For like the next 8 to 9, they're all pretty much similar. Yeah. Like Tony Pollard versus James Conner versus Chuba Hubbard versus Isaiah Pacheco. Like to me, it's all the same. Brian Robinson. Mm-hmm. Like there's a lot of question marks there with all of them. So I don't know. I don't think it's whack. I think it's just a different strategy. And you kind of got to get, I would say there's a little bit more luck involved with just like not having your top player hurt. Because if you don't have your top player hurt, then like you're probably standing out more than anybody else.
And also I think it's a younger generation thing to say like 10 teamers are whack, because I feel like the younger generation is able to like go in fantasy leagues with people they don't really know. Yeah. Where like the older guys, like they don't like to do that. So they may not have 12 friends that play fantasy football, and it might only be 10. So like they're just playing with their buddies in high school that they've been in the same league. So like I think 10 teams are fine. I wouldn't go with anything smaller than 10. That's when I do think it gets whack.
8 or I've seen 16. Like what
yes, I've seen, and I've gotten people that have. I remember there was a couple years ago, like somebody wanted me to do a one-on-one with them for a 6-man draft, and I was like, bro, what? All right, but like a 6-man draft, like everybody's team are going to be so loaded. You don't need any help there. It's just hopefully you get lucky. That's really what a 6-man is.
All right, y'all want to do a speed? Have you done a speed draft before? You want to do a speed draft like 10 seconds, 14 teams?
I mean, that's fine with me.
Let's try it. Let's do a speed draft, 14 teams. Let's do a speed draft, 14 teams, 3 receivers, PPR league. Speed draft. I'm going to pick, oh shit, I got to spread this one out so we can see all the teams. I'm going to pick spot 3. I probably should pick a bookend and back end, but. All right, we're going to do, the next one's going to be a speed draft on Sleeper, 14 teams. Oh, shit. Why did that not? All right. Yeah, for me, man, we can be done with the 10 team. And I think, like I said, just it's a different strategy. You're right, because I got a lot of my home league that I used to be in was 10 team, and it was fun, but we had to add had to be 3 receivers. We had to add 2 flex spots. So it's like you can make it a little bit more palatable,
Yeah,
in my
a
opinion.
little. No, that's definitely that's what I would do. I wouldn't do like a standard two wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 flex. Like I would definitely adjust that. That way, it's teams are still going to be somewhat stacked, but I do think that ups the like having to draft a really good team. It makes that difference compared to your casual
Yeah.
a bigger gap there when it's more flex involved because it's those leagues are always a little bit more difficult.
All right, y'all. Let us know what you guys think about this mock in the comment section. We're gonna move over to the other one because I think there was all good value here. I probably had the worst pick out of anybody. I don't know which one it was, but I'm just gonna say it. Share this tab and stay.